What is going on, everybody? This is SERG, VICENTE, the host of the Fight Podcast. This is episode 392 of the show. Today, we're going to go ahead and grade Zuffa Boxing 1. We're also going to talk about UFC 324 and so much more, man. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you had an amazing weekend. Yo, it was a fantastic fight weekend this weekend. There was a lot going on. Obviously, we had Zuffa 1, we had the UFC card, UFC 224, and we also had the Matchroom Boxing card, which was fantastic, which was, we have the former gold medalist, Andy CRUZ, versus the IBF champion at 135, Raymond Muerta. That fight was fantastic, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Let's dive into the show. Everybody who's watching live right now on YouTube, on Twitch, and everything else, thank you guys so much for checking out the show. All right, let's jump into it. All right, first and foremost, Zuffa 1. Let's give our breakdown and grading of Zuffa 1. Zuffa 1, honestly, as a boxing card, and it was done in Vegas at the facility, at the Apex over there. Salute to all my friends and people who, work at the organization that were there. I'll start with this. Let's start with the positives. In terms of production value, obviously, it's the UFC guys. The production, it was great. It went through, and it is obviously always good to get some more boxing in. The skill and talent-wise of everybody, if you guys are familiar with Pro Box and the league that they have, it reminded me of that in terms of the skill. One thing that Zuffa right now is doing, and what they're attempting to do, is they're attempting to have essentially a feeder program with USA Boxing. So what they're hoping to do is within the next few years, is build their roster with USA Boxing's up and coming and the best prospects that they have. That is what they're attempting to do with Zuffa Boxing. But in the meantime, in terms of the show itself, Robert Merriweather, if I'm going to talk about positives, looked fantastic. Somebody who comes from Floyd Mayweather's camp. Really looked solid, dropped his opponent in the second round, knocked his mouthpiece out, looked really, really great. Kind of tapered off a little bit, but when it boils down to it, I mean, he's an up-and-coming fighter. This is what these type of fights are for. Came out, it was really, really interesting in terms of the way that the fights were actually structured. The matchmaking and everything for those first couple were fantastic. Now, let's talk about the main event. We had Callum Walsh, and I'll be honest with you, headlined by that, Callum Walsh ain't him, people. All right? I understand that Dana like him and he dates a UFC fighter, and he's hopeful to get the Conor McGregor of it all. And that's what he's hoping he's leaning into with the Irish guys. But Callum Walsh ain't him. Callum Walsh got dropped in that fight. Callum Walsh, obviously, his skill set starts to taper down. And he was in there with a guy that he absolutely should have dominated, and he didn't. Now, so is he somebody who's going to be a champion in the future? No. Is he somebody who looks like he was willing and ready for that moment? No, he wasn't. And unfortunately, and a lot of people are going to look at me and say, Serge, Zuffa 1, it was the first card. But hey, you have one time for a first impression. My first impression of the show in general, of the card itself, was I was underwhelmed. It was underwhelming. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was low-level fighting, and even the top of the event was a low-level fight card. And then I go into it and I consistently look, and I'm looking at the protections and things that they're taking away from fighters. They're giving these athletes fight kits. One of the pomp and circumstance of combat sports, the gear, the shorts, the boots, the gloves, to be able to take that away from an athlete, that you're taking something away from the pomp and circumstance of the sport. That's why I think it was, again, it was, if I'm looking at it, it was something that was underwhelming. Am I here? Am I going to continue tuning in? Am I going to sit there and say, hey, if there's something good, I'll be honest with you, like I said, Robert Merriweather, fantastic. That kid's worth watching. Robert Garcia, who in my opinion is one of the best boxers or best boxing trainers in the world, one thing that he said, and I do agree with him, I stand with him on this one. He sits there and he stated, he was like, look, with Top Rank not having a lot of things, I have 30 fighters in my stable that need fights. And since they need fights, I'm going to go out here and send them anywhere, no matter who it's with. I respect that. I respect that. But if I look at what PBC did a couple years ago, and they built it up and they showed athletes. They built up and they were like, we got Caleb Plant, we got the Charlos, we got, Virgil, we got all these guys. And we're advertising, when we're going to take this off of pay-per-view and bring it right to live television. That's what we're going to do. It didn't work. For whatever reason, didn't work. Golden Boy did the same thing. Everybody who's tried to do it in their way. You look at, Matchroom and what they've done with the Zone. They were supposed to get it. Pay-per-view model is dead. This shit ain't going to happen no more. We going to do it this way. Is it working? I don't know. So everybody has tried and attempted this, and they failed in their own way, shape, or form. Now, are there going to be some good fights on there? Do I believe, if they do it, the UFC, or should I say Zuffa Boxing, is going to have to do this in a very specific way. And the way that they're going to have to do it, and the only way that I see them doing this, is that they do it division by division. You have Jai Opetaia at cruiserweight. They need to go after next. They need to go after Zurdo Ramirez. And after they go after Zurdo, you need to go after the Mexican monster. You need to go after David Benavidez. If they can get at a time, if they can go out there and get a weight class after weight class after weight class, then they can establish some sort of dominance. But until then, if you're going to have a one-off fight and then maybe you have somebody, and it takes time to get the feeder system of American boxing in there it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And then people are going to, after 1, 2, 3 events, if the card are as abysmal as they were in this last one, people will tune out. I'm telling you, that's exactly what's going to happen. I'm here for boxing. I'm here to watch it. This event itself was underwhelming. This event itself, the main event wasn't good, but I am open to possibilities, and I believe that if there's an opportunity to give some of these up-and-coming fighters an opportunity to compete, I'm not going to shit on that opportunity. Okay? So that's what I'm here to watch the next card. We'll see what it is. And that one, I believe the second one we have, what's his name? It'll come to me. Good fighter. That card's gonna be shit, but it's still, we'll see what happens with that. All right, let's move right along. UFC 324 was this weekend, and I was very critical of UFC 324. It sounds like I'm critical of anything in terms that Zuffa has to deal with and TKO, but I do, and they're worth criticism. So I'm going to talk about it, but the card itself was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was a card, in my opinion, that was headlined by some names, but it didn't have the substance that we needed. Paddy Pimblett versus Justin Gaethje, to be very frank, was honestly, it was a title fight and a main event in the UFC that had the lowest amount of talent and skill that maybe I have ever seen. It was abysmal. Paddy Pimblett's striking is remedial at best. Justin Gaethje's at a point in time where it seems as if he didn't, some of the fight IQ that he's had, he showed a lot of his fight IQ. When he fought Rafael Fiziev, in that fight, he was forced to dig deep and actually go to his fighter bag, his ring IQ, and he was forced to land fantastic leg kicks. He was forced to mix in his grappling. With Paddy Pimblett, he did nothing like that. He went out there and threw punches with his eyes closed. He threw 0 leg kicks. He didn't even try to. It was bad, yo. It was embarrassing to watch. Everybody who's tuning in right now on YouTube, everywhere, thank you so much for watching live. How am I doing, my brother? I am doing fantastic. We talking about fights. I gotta love it, man. I do even better though. You guys make sure to tell everybody, like, share, and subscribe to the Fight Podcast, and let everybody know about the best show and the best personality in all of combat sports and sports entertainment. Me, Serg Vicente. All right. In terms of again that fight though, I thought that if we're looking at entertainment, like 2 dudes at a bar throwing down, then it was entertaining. Sure, it was fine. I look at, the co-main event with, Sean O'Malley and that fight, not unimpressive. It wasn't impressive. And again, Sean O'Malley is proving to me again, he's another one of the guys that doesn't seem like he's evolving. He have an opportunity. He is somebody that I have stated again in terms of Sean O'Malley. By the way, I know I'm jumping all around, but Justin Gaethje ended up winning unanimous decision. Paddy Pimblett, they were forcing us to have him because they hopefully wanted to end up getting Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Ilia Topuria does nasty, dirty things to both of these fools. All right, none of them will last at all with Ilia Topuria. He's that dude. He's that good. And when it boils down to it, he destroys Justin Gaethje and he destroys Paddy Pimblett. So does Max Holloway. So does Charles Oliveira do Bronx. So does Arman Sarukian. Though neither of those guys should have the title right now, but it is what it is. UFC had to sell some tickets. There we go. Also, Song Yadong, and Sean O'Malley. Look, man, close fight. They gave it to Sean O'Malley. It could have gone either way. I would love to see more evolution from Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley definitely, I think, won the last round. The first round was debatable. It could have gone either way. But Song Yadong absolutely won the second round. Third round, we can give to Sean O'Malley. They gave Sean O'Malley the fight. We'll see what happens him moving forward. He needs to evolve. He needs to get better, especially in terms of his grappling and getting up from the bottom. He is with he's a Benson Henderson guy in terms of how his original grappling. He has fantastic jiu-jitsu. That's Sean O'Malley, but I would love to see his grappling step up a little bit more. He's still slick. He's good power. He got the dub. All right, and then we also have obviously the rest of the card was neither here nor there. Was it the Rose Namajunas fight? That was boring as all get out. The other ones, the card wasn't the best card, as I stated before. It had all the names that you want on it, but it doesn't have substance because some of these individuals are washed or they're not as good as the organization wants to prop them up to be. Neither here nor there. If I was grading the card, I'd give the card a C at best. All right. Moving right along. Let's talk about, in my opinion, the best fight of the weekend. And that had to be the gold medalist, Andy Cruz, Cuban gold medalist, fighting at 135 pounds in his 7th professional fight. He is fighting for the IBF title against Roland Murata, I believe how he says his name. And man, those boys got active. That was a fantastic fight. You're talking about a really, really close fight. Murata ended up retaining his title, winning in the second half. The last 2 rounds, won the 11th and 12th round, which I think eked out the fight for him. Andy Cruz, though, 7 fights in, nothing to be sad about. He looks absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the movement that this guy has, and he's one of those guys that has a lot of movement, has a lot of skill. His claim to fame is he beat Keyshawn Davis 4 times in the amateurs, won for the gold medal fight in the 2020 games. But with that being said, as skillful as he was, I'll be honest with you, Muerta was the one who had a deeper bag. Andy Cruz couldn't get out of his own way. He didn't have the extra gear. And Muerta, man, somebody who showed fast hands and movement, was able to do his things and showed that he was able to dig deeper and have a deeper bag than Andy Cruz. No hate. Best fight of the weekend. I love it. And one thing that I think, and we can take this away from it, I'm telling you, pay attention. These are the same coaches. This was Robert Garcia versus BOZY and ENNIS. Those are the same trainers we're talking about Virgil Ortiz and Boots Ennis. So Robert and them got 1-0. After watching that fight, I'll be honest with you, Robert Garcia, who I've always called to be the best trainer in boxing right now, he's a better coach, obviously, than BOZY. I had it 60-40 for if that fight happens between Virgil and Boots. I had it 60-40. After watching the coaching between Robert Garcia and BOZY, I give it 55-65. Still lean with Boots because of just the eye test. But when it boils down to it, coaching-wise, game plan, if you think about it, Robert Garcia currently has 17 champions. 17 champions. Muerta, we're talking about Bam Rodriguez, we're talking about Virgil Ortiz. This guy has some killers in his stable, and when it boils down to it, y'all, I'm telling you, Do not be surprised if Virgil has a better game plan and ends up winning that fight. All right. All right. With that being said, we got 15 minutes in. That's all the time I got for y'all. All right. Love y'all, man. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this channel and everything else that we're doing here with the Fight Podcast. I'm gonna give you guys the up and coming, the best news, and we ain't gonna stop. Okay. So like, share, subscribe. Check out our Substack. Love y'all. I'll see you guys next time right here on the Fight Podcast. Peace out.